Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. So, my wonderful Taurus people, before we get into it, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all, or should I say help you all, on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week, for your key to the week, you have the High Priestess card. Now, this means this week your intuition is going to be strong. It's going to be vibrant. And because you're a Taurus, right? Whenever we talk about intuition, whenever we talk about anything extrasensory, this is about you feeling it in your body. Listen to your body this week, right? In ancient astrology, the moon actually represented your physical body. And it would typify and character, you would see the character of a person within that, right? You could tell a lot by them just by looking at their moon. Now, the fact that you've got the High Priestess means that this week, that intuition, that intuitive push, that intuitive knowing or nudge is going to be visceral. You're going to feel it in your entire being. You know, this can be the gut-wrenching sort of intuition that you have, you know, the tingles that you get, the sensations. If you've been with me long enough, you know I am prone to those, and I'm not even a Taurus, right? So this week, pay attention to whatever intuitive hints, nudges, and pushes in certain directions that you get. Pay attention to those because they're going to tell you what you need to know and ultimately what steps you should or shouldn't be taking. The other thing with the High Priestess card as well, I've been doing a lot more research, a lot of deeper research on tarot recently, and taking my studies to newer and deeper levels. And one of the things that I'm starting to understand about the High Priestess is, yes, she does have, you know, she'll reveal hidden things to you. Very often this is secrets that are divulged to you, about you, by you. But the other thing is she literally represents the veil. So she's the veil that kind of veils all things beyond. And it's really interesting because we're talking about veils, right? We're heading ever and ever closer to Samhain now. So, you know, this is going to be an interesting time for sure. For your actions and options this week, you have the Five of Swords. Now, your instinct this week, what does Taurus do? Taurus pushes and plods on and they reach their goal regardless. Your instinct is going to be that this week, but your intuition is telling you that's probably not the right way to go. Now, it does feel for me, because it is the Five of Swords, right? So let's be honest and call a spade a spade. This week, it looks like there's some sort of information that you want, or that you may be, it kind of feels like you might get an intuition about something that somebody is either hiding from you, holding back from you, doesn't want to say, doesn't want to share. And you're going to be like, well, I know that there's something. And this Five of Swords kind of suggests that this week you might really be tempted to push for it. Now, it's different when somebody divulges something to us compared to us dragging it out of them, you know, when you have to prod and poke and push. And the thing is, with the current astrological energy, the chances are you'll either get more than you bargained for, or you may end up treating somebody in a way that they're not going to thank you for at a later date. If you feel there is something that you need to know from a specific person, put the offer on the table for them to speak to you and leave it there. If you push, prod and poke this week, the chances are you'll end up causing an argument, all right? For your communications and conversations, you got the Seven of Swords. Honey, I'm mad at you, right? Your intuition is speaking. Your intuition is fire right now. The fact that you have the High Priestess card as your key to the week, and you've got it here, right, in your communications and conversations. Just because you know what you know doesn't mean you can force somebody else to divulge it. The secret will come out. The truth of whatever it is that something or someone needs to say to you, it will find the light of day, right? One of my favorite sayings that I discovered like 2 years ago, and ever since I've been saying it for like practically everything. There are 3 things that cannot long stay hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. And I tell you what, never have truer words been spoken. Yes, it's cliche. Yes, it's a bit cheesy and a bit corny, but you know what? Don't get mad, because it's the truth. Now, this Seven of Swords, if you've been with me long enough, you know this is literally my least favorite card in the entire deck. having this right underneath the High Priestess means that there is something that you don't know. There is something that needs to be shared with you. There is something that's going to be divulged to you. But again, if you try to force it, push it, or even bully it out of somebody, the chances are not only will they not thank you for it, but it's kind of like one of them things, you know, when you were younger, you say to your mum, "When's dinner ready? I'm hungry." And, you know, and it's like, she's like, "I'm cooking it, it's coming, it'll be ready soon." And you just keep going and going and going and going. And then eventually, like, they end up screaming at you and slamming the plate down on the table. And it's like, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is kind of that energy. If you push for it, you'll probably get more than you bargain for, and you'll probably create an atmosphere of tension. There's no need. Whatever knowledge or information you need to know is already on its way to you, all right? For your money and materials, you've got the Temperance card. This is great. Because it suggests that your finances are good. It looks like you are now starting to realign yourself to that Taurian energy, because let's face it, you know, probably, in fact, before the whole coronavirus thing hit, Taurians, the money was funny for you guys, right? It's been a bit funny, and this is very rare. Like, it's, you know, obviously you've got Uranus in your sign, so he's shaking things up there and, you know, blasting the old paradigms. But this will have really created a lot of tension for a lot of you, and a lot of inner tension at that. Now, for your personal finances, it looks like you're starting to realign to what it is that you want to create, which is great. On top of that, though, what it really kind of suggests to me as well is that you are starting to look at the way that you manage money in relation to the way that you make money. And this is something that you would have had a really good handle on previously, but because it's going through such a big shift on a global level, this means that you're now starting to feel those effects and starting to adjust accordingly. There's something really interesting happening here as well. The Temperance card is number 14. 1 and 4 gives you 5. Right underneath the 5 of Swords, and then on top of that you've got the 7 of Swords right next to it. The 7 of Swords, 7 is literally half of 14, and interestingly enough, 7 and the High Priestess is 2 times 7. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just really interesting when you see, like, I'm just looking at the numbers and the numerology of the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now, on a personal level, this could be a week where you are addressing some on a personal level, on a physical level, like a health and vitality. This could be a week where you are either looking at the hormones, maybe you are thinking about adjusting your diet, or maybe even your sleep pattern to start regulating your hormonal body, you know, or your endocrine system, as it's also called. For your physical home and environment, it looks like one of the calmer weeks at home that you've had for a while, but those external influences, and especially if this knowledge that you think you know is in the bounds of a family or in a relationship, it's even more important that you don't force, push, or try to bully it out of somebody. All right. I'm going to look at these numbers in a second. And for your love and relationship, the 3 of Pentacles. So you are going to learn something about relationships or about your partner this week. For those of you that are single, you will start to get a good handle on why a previous relationship didn't work out. It could be that knowledge or information about this person graces your ears, and it may either make you see them in a different light, or you might look at it and say, actually, you know what, I wanted to reconnect with you, but now that I know this about you, I no longer do. For those of you that are partnered, again, some knowledge, some information, something that a partner has either been holding inside, you know, maybe something that they've been struggling with silently, and it happens, you know. It's, you know, everyone says, oh, you know, you should be totally open and honest in your relationship, and yeah, that's true. But what if you're the sort of person that wasn't ever able to be strong in your able to be vulnerable in your family, you know, or through your heritage? It's hard to open up to a partner and say, look, actually, you know what, I'm struggling, or I'm feeling a bit low, or, you know, the financial pressure's getting too much, or whatever, A, B and C. if and this is why I say if it's a partner or a family member, or you know, a child or a parent, or if it's a familial tie or a close relationship where you feel something is not quite right, don't force it out of them. You must let them come to you. And this is why I say put the offer on the table and let them come with it, because if you try to force it out of them or bully it out of them, it will just create so much more tension that is really not needed at this time, right? Yes, so the interesting thing about the numbers that comes up here for me. So 5 is obviously the number of change, but it's also the number of change and upheaval, and it's also a number of movement and innovation, right? So something about your personal world and your personal outlook is starting to change. You might feel that sort of quickening energy and start being more like, you know, forceful and vibrant and like you know, like in your face. You might feel that this week, so just, you know, try to find a way to balance that. And it's interesting because the Temperance card, for all of its loving, peaceful, harmonious kind of healing vibes, it equates to the number 5, which is the Hierophant. This is about sticking to something now, right? This is the week where you've got to tap into that normal Taurian energy and stick with something. You've got to be in it for the long haul. And then with the 7 energy, 7 is all about introspection. So maybe thinking this week about how you communicate with people, and ultimately how it is that you share what it is that you share. Is there some place within your communicative spectrum where you could check yourself, or maybe check the way that you deliver the information that you do? You know, and this is the thing, like, we can't censor and edit ourselves for every single person that we come into contact with, but we do need to at times think about how what we're saying affects other people. And then because you've got the High Priestess infusing all of this, not only is your intuition speaking to you this week, but it's gonna highlight things to you. You know, sometimes you have a conversation with something and it's with someone, and then your intuition goes and you hear that, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to check in with that. Pay attention to those little moments this week, because they're going to be really potent. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.